Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Ravens beat the Bengals 34-20, take a commanding lead in the AFC North. Doesn't come at a cost, though. We'll get into all the details. But first, shout out to Jason Moyer, 9530, for winning the giveaway. He guessed Keaton Mitchell to have 78 yards, which was the lowest guess. Keaton Mitchell finished with a total of 41 yards. I'm surprised nobody guessed anything lower than 78, but shout out to you, man. I replied to your YouTube comment. But let's dive into the game. This win was overshadowed by injuries, unfortunately. In the first drive, Mark Andrews goes down with a really bad ankle injury. Harbaugh confirms after the game that it's likely season-ending, which is just a huge blow to this team. Not saying it ruins our chances or anything. We obviously still have a really good team. The receivers are going to have to step up like they did last night. Lamar's probably going to have to step up and, just start distributing to other guys and start doing more things on his own, because that safety blanket, that automatic connection, the guy who's always open is not going to be there for the rest of the season. So terrible, terrible loss. And the Bengals had a massive loss of their own. Joe Burrow went down after he threw a touchdown to Joe Mixon with a wrist injury. We saw him coming into the game on the Cincinnati Bengals page that they then deleted, but we saw him coming into the game with a brace on his wrist, and then he falls on it in the game once or twice. I know Clowney fell on top of him, and he kind of fell on his wrist. And then the very next play, he throws that touchdown out in the flat to Joe Mixon, and you could just tell he was in a ton of pain. They had a video of him on the sideline after he couldn't even grip the football, and he was done for the day as well. So the Ravens got to face off against their backup quarterback, Browning. Obviously, that changed the dynamic of the game. And we know all too well how that feels to go against the Bengals with a backup quarterback. But I don't wish injuries on anybody in the league. I've said many times I wish we could just always get best versus best, but that's not how this sport works, unfortunately. Lamar also hurt his ankle on the same type of tackle from the same player, Logan Wilson. This one was on the sideline. Lamar played the rest of the game, but was limping around. You could tell that ankle was bothering him. But I think he'll be good, especially we got a lot of time off. We only play one game in basically like the next month because we have a bye week coming up too. So we have a lot of time off to get these guys healthy. Odell also at the very end of the game after that big catch that he had landed on his shoulder, and he seems to be in a lot of pain, but Harbaugh said it's not too serious. Once again, that was by Logan Wilson. But nothing seems too serious besides the Mark Andrews injury, and we should get a lot of these guys back after the bye, including Ronnie Stanley and Marlon Humphrey potentially. And shout out to Odell, breakout game, 4 catches, 116 yards, made some huge plays. He looked really explosive. I feel like he's really coming into his own. Bateman got his first touchdown. Zay Flowers had a huge touchdown on a screen pass after the Bengals consistently were bringing the blitz. I thought that screen call was the perfect call, and then they get Odell on some BS holding that was the softest holding call I've ever seen, and take away Zay's huge touchdown. End up getting a lucky tip ball to Aguilar that he takes for the touchdown on the same drive, so he still scored, but definitely would have liked to see Zay get his. Kind of seemed like Odell, Bateman, Zay were all elevating their games and stepping up, at least in a production standpoint. And that's probably because Mark's out. We're going to have to see the entire team raise their production just to replace Mark. I don't think singularly Isaiah Likely or even Charlie Kohler are going to be able to replace a Mark Andrews. So it's going to be the receiving core, the run game, Lamar, everybody kind of making up for it. And we saw that with the receivers last game, so that was definitely encouraging. Thought the defense looked dominant. They looked really good. I know they went against the backup. They didn't get to go against Burrow the entire game. When Burrow went out, it was just 10-7. But I think our offense would have put up a bunch of points too. So, I mean, Burrow would have had to match 34 points. Not saying he can't do that, but that's no easy task against this defense. I thought our defense was going to be able to hold even Burrow under 34. But regardless, defense dominant, 5 sacks, 5 different guys. Tavius Robinson got his first sack. Congrats, man. Shout out to you. I thought Brandon Stevens did a great job on Jamar Chase. He was manned up on Jamar Chase quite often. Jamar Chase did get a garbage time touchdown at the very, very end of the game on kind of a comeback route on Stevens, so he beat him there. But other than that, I thought Stevens held his own. You know, without Marlon Humphrey there, it was definitely a big missing piece in that secondary, but Darby stepped up, Stevens stepped up, Rock Ya-Sin played all right. We even saw a tiny bit of Jalen Armour-Davis. We're definitely going to need Marlon Humphrey back. There's no doubt about it, but I definitely think the defense held their own and played well. We saw some nice pass breakups and nice reads from Marcus Williams. Kyle Hamilton with some pass breakups, knocking that ball out late. Really loved what I saw from our defense last night, and pretty much all season long they've been consistent. You know, the Cleveland game last week was a weird moment for our defense, but other than that, we've been really well. We got another tough opponent coming up in the Chargers, at least tough offense. You know, they can score some points, so it'll be another good test for our defense. Huge division win. We kind of bury the Bengals in the division. Not saying that they can't make the playoffs, especially if Burrow doesn't miss a lot of time. They could sneak in the wild card and still be a factor later in this season, but I don't think they're winning the division now for sure. And then with the Browns losing Deshaun Watson for the season, it seems like the Steelers are going to be our biggest competition to win the division now. We do play Pittsburgh again at the very end of the year. But the AFC North is kind of rounding out into shape, especially with these injuries, and it looks like Baltimore sitting at the top. We're in a good spot. We just got to keep momentum going. We got to keep winning. Obviously, this game is overshadowed by losing Mark Andrews for the season. That kind of dampens my mood about the win. You know, obviously I'm really excited that we beat the Bengals, but it's just like, man, we lost Mark for the year. You know, that hasn't happened in Mark Andrews' time with the Ravens. We've expected him to kind of be out there. He's missed a game or two here and there. He missed a game earlier this season, and we can get through that, but, you know, not having him for 10 more games if we make a run is very disappointing, and it sucks. But Likely and Kohler are going to have to really step up at the tight end position, and then all these receivers are going to have to step up. And we definitely have to stay healthy moving forward. You know, we cannot lose another key guy or two for the season. We've already plucked J.K. Dobbins and Mark Andrews from this offense. We cannot lose a big receiver or something like that. So we definitely need to stay healthy. Not that that is controllable that much, but I'm just saying another big injury to this offense would be a huge blow. So I think this team needs to get healthy. We should get healthy over these next few weeks. We only play one game, like I said, in a month. So this late bye may be coming at the perfect time just because we are starting to get banged up again. We noticed it really early in the season. We were having a lot of injuries, and then we had a nice healthy stretch and we won a bunch of games, and then now the injuries are starting to creep up again. So we got the team to make a run. We're sitting nice in the standings. You know, our odds of making the playoffs at least are very high. And we should win the division. But let me know your thoughts about the game. Let me know your thoughts about the team moving forward, obviously without Mark Andrews now, which is terrible. As always, guys, I appreciate you tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.